Hello and welcome to And You Know This. I'm your host, Katora Kendrick, and here's what I believe. I believe that not only does your life know exactly what it wants, it has always known what you need. The thing is, you have to get good at silencing all the noise around you so you can hear your voice and give it what it has known from day one that you need. And I have the perfect person here to back up my belief. None other than the gorgeous, the talented, the insightful Asia Everett. How you doing, Asia?
I am so amazing. Thank you so much for having me, Katora. I'm so honored.
Oh, I am honored too. And I'm going to go ahead on and say it. Asia is my former eighth grader who I have known since day one when she was 13 years old. We're doing amazing things. And part of the reason why I wanted to bring you on, Asia, is because as we talked about before, there's things you've shared in your social media platforms and all of the things that you're doing to sort of support the community that I saw in you a while ago, and seeing you now coming to fruition, you were the perfect person to have for this particular show, this particular project I'm working on. So, well, I'm gonna stop talking now, and I'm gonna give you a chance to tell us who you are. So, Asia, who are you, and most importantly, what brings you joy?
Okay, so I go by Asia Lee, so that's my first and my middle name together. But Katora knows me as Asia Everett. She is correct. Okay. um, but I am a transformational life coach, a wellness consultant, a self-care influencer, a content creator. I like to use my social media platforms to just target mental health awareness specifically in the Black community, us understanding, self care, getting a better understanding of emotional intelligence, identifying purpose, and reframing fear. Like, those are the main things that I like to focus on. But I cover a number of different topics, very talkative.
Mm,
Um, I would like to say what brings me joy is really finding peace in solitude,
mm,
knowing how to do things by myself and not need other people to do it with me or feel as though if I don't have someone else, I'm not going to do it. That's it. And that's what brings me the most joy.
Girl, we can end right there, but we got more to talk about. That are you 30 yet, Asia?
I just turned 30 January 11th. Yes.
Every time I ask a former eighth grader that, my heart sinks a little bit because I'm like, if you're 30, that means I'm not 30. But I'm glad that you have come to this joy early on into your womanhood, this peace with being with self. Like, I don't need, it's nice to have a bae or friends to come with me, but being comfortable with self, beautiful. So, Miss Asia Lee, we're going to start with an email that you got a few years ago from a high school classmate, because when we were having a conversation about your being on here, this email came up just as we were gabbing and talking and catching up. And I was like, we got to start with this because I remember you from that time, and your reaction to it, I thought, was fascinating and beautiful. So, first, give us the context of the email. Tell us what happened in that email and what you're feeling, how you felt in your body when you read it, in your response to it.
2020 quarantine. We're all home and I'm working on my self development. And I was 2 years deep into working on my self development at this point. But when we stayed home, it was 6 weeks that I was just home by myself. I worked out every day. The gyms were closed. I was in here jumping rope. I was just doing everything that I needed to do mentally, physically, financially. I started getting into the stock market, just educating myself, self education from the window to the wall. So one day I was just having a great day and somebody randomly sent me a DM on Instagram. And it read, and not verbatim, but it read, you know, she was just informing me, hey, back when we were in schools, you bullied me and it wasn't nice. And I was going through my own suicidal situations at home, and it did not help that somebody older than me I had to come to school and somebody older than me was bullying me. She also ended with like, forgiveness is for self. So I forgive you. I understand that you probably had your own stuff going on and you didn't know how to deal with it. I was blown away.
Ooh, listen, I am a grown lady about to hit the big 50, and if someone sent me a DM like that, it would give me I don't know how I react. I think I would like to react with humility and, "Oh my goodness," but I would feel a little attacked and shocked that I was that person, even if I were that person when I was technically a child. So just what was your reaction to that?
I I was doing so much work within myself that I was aware that people may have felt that way. I wasn't aware back then, but I was aware that I was not a victim of life. I can be mean. There are some things that I started to work on, so it wasn't far fetched to me. Not only that, let's go back to the fact that when we were in high school, our last year, we had a senior trip where everybody was together and we all lit candles and talked about a lot of different things and got really emotional. And in that time, so many people were like, "You were so mean to me. I was scared of you," da, 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 da," telling me so many things. And when I tell you that, I was like, what are they talking about? I just come to school and joke and laugh. My idea of a bully was like somebody who pushed people down the stairs and physically harmed others. So I was like, I don't know what they talking about.
That
But
that is so profound because I think we have in our head what a bad guy is. And the bad guy is never us because the bad guy in our head is what we see in movies, someone who truly is like next level malicious and evil. So I can see how, especially as a 17-year-old, you're like, I just cracked some jokes. What are you talking about? I didn't call you the B word. I didn't spread lies about you. I just cracked some jokes. That is key. That is key.
that was it. So I had to flash back there just to understand that I didn't have the self awareness at one point. But by the time she got to me, oh, I was there. It was 2020. And it's what is that? How many years after high school? 8? 8 years after high school now. And I was in a place where I received it very well, especially with humility. And the old me would have been like, girl, get over it. How many years ago was that? It's not that deep. It's not that serious. Undermining someone else's story. And instead, I was like, I am sorry. I don't care how long ago it was. And it made me make a podcast episode on my podcast to apologize to anybody listening that I may have hurt in the past and the type of person that I was and how it affected people because I did not realize I was not self aware and at any capacity what I did to make myself feel better did to other people.
Thank you for that. And since you said that, and the young woman who DM'd you, sort of intimated that clearly because is now an adult and figuring out life and self awareness and social awareness. She's like, clearly there's something going on. I didn't know that when I was the victim of your attacks, but now that I'm going through life, I see you probably have something going on too. And you just sort of suggest that same thing. So if you feel comfortable, can you take yourself back to 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old Asia who really wasn't pushing people down the stairs. You weren't spreading rumors, "Oh, she a slut, you were just cracking jokes and going about your business and causing all this harm that even by senior year, you kinda didn't see." Can you explain to us or describe to us what you were feeling inside to cause you now that you had that self-awareness to reflect, "Oh, this is exactly why I was what I was." What were you going through to make you that Asian?
15 to 18, let's start at 12. 12-year-old to 18-year-old Asia was angry, sad, scared, lost, confused, used to violence and chaos, uncertainty, poverty, homelessness, domestic violence. I mean, a number of adverse childhood experiences that I did not even know was adverse childhood experiences until I became an adult and went to therapy and realized that all the things that I was going through was not normal. And the way that I internalized it was not in a negative way. So it was the difference between my personality and my character. My personality was fun and everybody loves me and I'm popular, but my character was diminished by all the things that I was going through. I had terrible character. I was used to being argumentative and combative. In my household, I was shut down so much in my opinions that I would overstate my opinion when I leave because my mother is the one that's powerful and making me feel like I'm the mother. You do what I say and shut up, whether she's right or wrong. So now when I leave and I feel like I'm more powerful than whoever else is in the room, then I'm overstating my opinion as well and overstating my personality, overstating my power and using it the wrong ways. That's the bottom line, using it the wrong way. And that's why I had to turn it around into the transformational life coaching because now that I know what my purpose is, I want to use it for the right way. I know what my personality and my character is supposed to be used for to help other people step into who they are, make them see themselves, not make them shrink down, not make them feel bad. But I'm so happy that I've just been able to turn it around completely. Like, look who you used to be. And you know that you are supposed to be using your personality to make people feel stronger. You're that powerful. You can make people feel stronger with your words, just like you can make them feel weak. So I said, and I know that.
I love how you really clearly laid out the fact that you have and always had a great personality. But if your character doesn't align with the greatness of your personality, you get 13-year-old bully, 15-year-old bully, 17-year-old bully being confronted about the bullying, like, wait, what? And I appreciate you identifying the very specific things you were challenging at home to make you that person. So it makes perfect sense if you feel like you are being suppressed and repressed in your home by your mother, who is the one who controls everything. How you help an adult mind, much less a child mind, like, well, I know where I can get some power.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to get my power. And because I'm not being overtly mean the way I think my mom is doing it, then I'm cool. I'm just making jokes. That makes so much sense. And I can appreciate your being honest about that because I think even though you've had this journey and you've had your transformational coaching, a lot of people would find it hard to admit to that. So I give you props for that. Let's talk a little bit about your journey though, because I know when I have identified over the years character traits, I have a great personality too, but since you set up this framework for us, when my character hasn't aligned with my personality in the way that I've liked, and I've wanted to improve that, I can honestly say I didn't just wake up and say, I'm going to become fuller and accepting more people into my life and do like a Thanos. Therapy, I am fuller and accepting more new people into my life. It has always, for me at least, been a bit more wily and messy. So if you're able to outline for us what that process was like, was there a defining moment that you can recall? I know it was way before you got the DM when you were like, no, character and personality way out of line. I'm hurting people, and you started it, or was it a bit more messy? Like, what was that process like for you to get to here?
Very much more messy. And I thought that it was when I first thought about it, I thought that it was a straight and narrow path, but it was very much more messy. It started really with in 2018, my life was just all over the place. I was on my own in life, taking care of myself. I was in a relationship, my first real relationship. We lived together. We lived in Far Rockaway. It was just too much going on, and I just needed to focus. And I just felt like it was chaos everywhere. And I wasn't sure if I was contributing to it or not, but I knew that I wanted it to and the moment that I wanted it to stop, I just started self-educating, and I read a book, and I'm telling you, books will change your life. You
I
have
would
a
like to
life
take
changer in your hand.
I would like to take credit for that as
You better take
your
the credit.
ELA teacher. I still constantly undertake at least 50% responsibility for that as your former English teacher.
You can have all of the credit because don't get me started on how much credit I give you just as a Black figure in my life as a young woman. Like, although I may have been unruly in some ways, when I stepped into your classroom, all of that was out the window. I may have played with other teachers, but I did not play with you. I did not.
That is true. When I recall, because I remember when you would come up and teacher talk about how can we support you, I remember thinking, I saw there's something else going on
Mhm.
with Asia. And I didn't have similar um classroom management issues with you that I heard other teachers were
Mhm.
having. So I actually identified that before you did. Carry on.
Yeah, I know that's real. Okay, I put the respect on your name when I came. Okay, and I appreciate the education that you gave us, and you made me look up to you just as not many Black women here, one of the only, and the way you carry yourself, the way that you speak, and the way that you made us be on top of things. It really molded me in a way now that I see better than I did before. Right? But we gonna get back to it.
Yes,
I
get back.
appreciate.
I brought you off
I had
topic.
to give you your flowers. I had to give you your flowers. And I'm giving them to you before, but I just want to give them to you as much as I can because it's real. Okay, so it was very much so messy. And in 2018, I was in a relationship and I just wanted everything to just stop the chaos. So I picked up this book and I read the book myself and I wanted my boyfriend at the time to read the book as well. And hopefully maybe our relationship was going to get into a better state, right? But somehow I was the only one reading the book. He wasn't reading it. And that's one thing about it. Your path is yours. It's not about anybody else. So if you don't want chaos anymore in your life, then you need to figure out what has to be done. The name of the book was Emotional Chaos to Clarity by Philip Moffitt. Changed my whole life.
I love that title. Wow.
It's amazing.
What was the big takeaway? What was it that changed you? I'm so curious.
Emotion and the title itself is what really got me because there was emotional chaos going on in my life and I really needed clarity to why this is happening instead of why me. Why is this going on and what can I do to fix it? The takeaway from that book was understanding emotional intelligence and the four components of self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. Because those are the things that keep us alive and in tune. It's about the way you carry yourself and knowing the things that you do and how you actually react to the world. It's also about knowing the world as well, just knowing cultures, knowing how certain people are, knowing what your triggers are to those things, and managing those relationships as skillfully as possible. So that is what I did not have because I came from a family and we're still working through it in therapy that does not know how to handle difficulty, does not know how to handle conflict. It's 0 to 100. So now at this point at 30, I am unlearning all of that stuff and it's still messy. Don't think that I thought for a second I was healed all the way one day and I was like, oh, wait. It's
Listen,
a hun-
if you got to work with people, live with people, you have people in your family, it's gonna be messy as hell to the day you inhale your last breath. It's just gonna be real
Mhm.
messy.
Mhm. Yeah, so healing, that's what I try to inform my clients. This is not a one-stop shop to a finish line, baby. We're going to be doing this for a long time. And it's something to always keep trying to work on because healing is an onion, another layer to peel back of something else that you could fix and work on, right? So, yeah, it got messy, but that book changed my life. The boy had to go eventually, but I got my life together. And I started really realizing how my behavior affects where I am sometimes trying to play the victim when I'm really the antagonizer on things that I need to do to be skillful. Like now, that's the only thing in my head. Everything I do, as much as I can, I don't get it right all the time. Let's be very clear. I'm still human. Everything that I do, especially in times of difficulty, I'm trying to think of the next best move for my life. Don't bust them upside the head because you're going to go to jail. You have to think skillful behavior. Not people in that.
It's as simple as that. They don't got the kind of food I like in jail.
Right.
So I need to leave the situation before I end up in jail.
Don't think about it later. Think about it now. Think about it now. And I tell people my favorite example is when people get upset about somebody talking about their kids. Skillful behavior, like people know what antagonizes you, right? So it's not about what other people do. You're not a victim of somebody talking about your kids, and that's why you had to beat them up. You have to be skillful in knowing that that is a trigger for you. I'm sensitive about my kids. And this person knows that. So let me get away from them before I go to jail and never get to see my kids again. You know, it's simple. So yeah, that book was really like the wrap up of skillful behavior. And then I just started making that a part of my lifestyle and wanting to share it with other people. And then it started with my podcast, How Lee Sees, and then it snowballed from the podcast into me getting my life coaching certification. And then the life coaching certification snowballed into me just being a speaker in the schools, talking to the kids about anti-bullying. Let's take it all the way 360 back because I am an expert in understanding bullying. I'm an expert in understanding unlearning that behavior as well. So that is where I need to be and connecting with these kids and being relatable and being stern, because I don't go in there speak. I talk the same way. Stop playing around and stop being mean because it's not cute. Because we know that when you're doing that to somebody else, it's because you don't feel good about yourself. So you want the whole world to know and the whole room to know that you really don't like you because you're being mean to somebody else. You better preach, okay? So that's how we just brought it back around, you know? And I just get so excited for like, this is a lifestyle. This is just forever. And I know that, okay?
And I can just tell from your body language, your face, it is just all like literally aflame with how much passion you have for this and how much you truly have found your mission. And I think it's beautiful that that came out of your realizing there is internal mess.
Mhm.
Like I think for a lot of people, and there's no shade to these people, this whole I want to own my own business. I want to be influencers connected to things outside of themselves, which is perfectly fine. It's nice to have, a nice bank account and to be able to say you own these properties and these businesses. But for you, it seems to be, it came out of this internal mess. And I recognize that there's an internal mess. And I recognize that so many people I love, people who share my DNA have this internal mess. And if I'm going to put time into building any sort of empire or business, it needs to be focused on this internal mess because it's wreaked havoc so much. If I can just take a slight detour because you mentioned something that I have a couple of mentees who are in their 20s and they're Black women, and I suggest therapy to one in particular. And I'm always aware that they're not so much now. Now when I say it because I say it so much, she just doesn't do this. But the first few times I've suggested therapy, I thought because she was younger and wasn't from I'm supposed to be your mom's age, like your mom's generation and older, that it would be a given for her. Like there wouldn't be this therapy, like you trying to say I'm crazy. But she react that way to my surprise. Because I think a lot of times when you're older, you think the younger generation, the world has changed and like a lot more than it really has.
Mhm.
The younger generation might be more open to it. So I was kind of surprised when there was a pushback and she reacted the way, to be honest, my mother reacts to me when I suggest therapy, right? So if you can explain why therapy was key, the book, I'm gonna get it that book, by the way, seemed like it was very powerful in your light bulb moment. But you mentioned therapy and just in the way you're talking about your self-awareness, I know you've had really good therapy you've taken seriously. So why was that an important component to your transformation?
I feel like therapy is and will always be important is because it's so much trauma that we don't even realize shows up in the way that we do things. And so many people think that they are okay. And that is the problem. I literally was talking to a friend the other day, and it's no shade, but she was saying something to the nature that somebody at work told her that she should probably get therapy. They asked her if she had like issues with her dad, and she does. And they were asking, like, maybe you should get therapy and speak about it. She's like, no, I'm good. I don't care about it. Da, 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 da. I'm fine. But in my moment, I didn't want to be argumentative with her in that moment. I questioned, like, do you think that could be a possibility? She's like, no, I'm good. But I agree with that person that was at her job. She can be very abrasive. She's not self aware of how she comes off to other people. And I did not know why she was acting like that, but I'm like, that's it right there. and she doesn't even want to deal with it. And this was a dad that was in her home and left and doesn't have a relationship with her. You had a relationship with this person. You cannot tell me that does not bother you and you don't care. But then she says something that was like, oh, he would like this or he would like that. That means you think of him. So if you don't care, he would not be a thought in your mind about what he like, what he don't like, da 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 da. You wouldn't care. So it was like, I'm like, people don't realize they need to go because you think you okay and you're not okay. You're not.
You
And
know,
there's so much to unpack. So much. I have a therapy session tomorrow with my family, and I'm excited. I'm not even anxious. I hope that they are open because I know that this is something new. I'm the one bringing it. It's my therapist doing a family session. And everybody's been wanting it, but nobody's been doing it. We've been talking about it. Do it. So now we're here and we're challenged because our problem is that we do not know how to handle conflict properly. Now what we gonna do? Let's see. Because I'm pretty good. I'm ready and excited to challenge myself with handling conflict with y'all. It's easy to do it with people that I already align myself with that are emotionally intelligent and know how to handle conflict. Oh, I thought I mastered it then. You get that with the people that don't, and then you start seeing your old self sneaking right back out, coming to get you. Okay?
I love it. I love it. I love it. So let's really focus then on a 20-year-old who is still very much in the letting the world see how much pain she is in because how she treats others, right? And of course, because she's not self-aware, she doesn't see that. But let's say she feels something in her body, because I truly believe you may not be aware of it, especially if you're younger, but you feel something in your body that is kind of like, I know this is not the perfect way to do it, which is why when you're bullying, you don't do it in front of adults often very much, right? Because you kind of know this is right, but you don't know, no, right? So there's a 20-year-old who is navigating navigating life the way you were when you were younger. She kinda has this not so great feeling in her body. She can't identify it yet, but she needs someone, a big sister, one would say, a slightly older auntie, to literally tell her how to navigate a world where she's still very much in pain, even though she can't see it, but she's also treating people like crap, which is not okay. How would you advise that young woman to navigate her pain and also how she treats others?
I would tell her that she has to start with the self development. It has to go inside because until it goes inside, there's nothing else we can look for. You can't, there's nowhere to hide. Whitney Houston said, can't run from a death. There's nowhere to go. You in pain, and I feel like every time you feel the most painful, you gotta dig deep in here. Why am I this angry? Why am I so upset? Why am I fearful? When I speak to any of my clients, that's what we get into. That's what the difference between life coaching and therapy is because there's more medical and mental in therapy. Life coaching is digging inside of yourself. You give me the answer why you're fearful. You give me the answer why you're angry. Cause you know, people like, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. You know. hmm And that's what we get into. But that's what it has to be. It has to be that self worth. Once you start there, then you understand the world better. You will never be able to understand the world better until you understand yourself. I had to know why I get annoyed with people that ask me too many questions. It's not their fault. Why am I agitated? And I have to make sure that I don't come across that way to other people just because they may be confused. They may have a hearing aid. They didn't hear me. Like these are the little things that we need to understand. But you're in your head. I don't like repeating myself. What's that about? Come on. Come on now.
It. I love it. Listen, I am so I might start crying in a second. I am so super proud of you. What I'm seeing in front of me, even in my teacher self, when I knew you would be live up to your greatest potential when you overcame whatever it was I could sense you were dealing with. But even my limited little human teacher brain could not imagine all that I'm seeing in front of me. So first of all, I'm super proud of you. I am so glad you are doing what you're doing, and I want you to tell us everything you're doing, where we can find you, where we can book you for a life coach session, which I'm gonna talk to you about when we end this call because I have a
Okay.
client for you. But anyway, so tell us where we can find Asia Lee, all the cool things that you're doing, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you so much. I just want to say I'm just so humble before you because I'm just really grateful. And whatever you saw, I didn't see that. So I'm thankful that I had a light in my life and you kept pouring into me, even though I didn't even realize it, right? And it shows in my life. I feel like I take things from the great Black women that really poured into me to be that strong person that I am right now, to be well spoken, to get along with people, to be strong when I need to. So I love you so much. And I thank you for even just having me be a part of this. Oh, um, but you can find me if anybody needs to book a transformational life coaching session where we want to identify what your unique purpose in this life is, because that's what helps us keep going and getting up every day. If you want to start reframing fear in the way that you think about things and shift that mindset and getting a better understanding of emotional intelligence so you can live skillfully, you can head on over to mymentor.life/Asia Lee. That's MYMentor.LIFE/Asia Lee. And you can also find me for any self-care, wellness consulting, content creation on Instagram at phenomenal_Lee. That's 4 E's. PHENOMENAL underscore. Okay, spelling B. L and then 4 E's, And I also have a motivational page on Instagram at I lead leaders. I_lead LEAD_leaders LEADRS. So yeah, if you need me, please call me, beat me if you want to reach me. I'm really here for us to turn it around and show people in real time examples. I'm nobody that you're not. I'm from the
Mm.
hood. I've been so many different places, but I can code switch. I know how to do all that. Like, let's do what we gotta do to be better. Because when I changed myself, my life got so much better. I'm so happy and free, and the opportunities just flow to me so nicely. And I want to help people. So, me, I'm here for you.
Excellent. Listen, that is the mic drop, the most perfect way to end a wonderful conversation. Thank you, Miss Asia Lee, for being here. And again, I'm super proud of you and I can't wait to see you soar even higher.